Joe talks about Joe. And now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Hey everybody, it's me, your host, Joe Slepsky. Welcome back to Joe on Joe. This is the only podcast where I cover every episode of the G.I. Joe Sunbelt cartoon, the DIC, even the Extreme, and every issue of Marvel, Real American Hero comic book, page by page, panel by panel. And this week, we are here for yet another edition of You on Joe. That's right. You, the Joe fan, you love America's favorite fighting team. You are the star of this show. And what specific favorite thing of G.I. Joe that is yours to discuss? Cartoons, comics, action figures, whatever it is about G.I. Joe that you absolutely love, it's up for discussion. And I want you to be on here. I want you to be my guest. So if you want to participate and be a guest, please reach out to me on social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Joe on Joe Pod, or send me an email to joeonjoepod@gmail.com and let me know what topic you want to cover. The more specific, the better, and we will dig into it. While you're online, please give me a rate and review on your podcast app. Every single review helps grow the show. If you're so inclined, you can certainly visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/joeonjoepod and help keep the show afloat. Speaking of that, let's give some big time love to our absolutely fabulous sponsors, the Movies and a Meal podcast. In the beginning of time, the smallest organism gained sentience and thought to itself, I really need a good meal. Then, a bunch of other stuff happened, and finally the Lumiere brothers started showing movies in France. This was all the inspiration that fellow broadcasters Brad, Keith, and Ben needed to combine these two primal needs into the Movies and a Meal podcast. The Movies and a Meal is one of the most casual and relaxing film talk podcasts you could ever listen to. These three friends enjoy a good meal together while talking all about the movies. And not just reviews. They do favorite lists, comparison discussions, genre talks, anything and everything that you can think of. They've even broken their solemn promise inherent in the name and branched out into TV talk. So I love the variety of films they bring to the table. They cover new releases, classics, cult films, often in one episode. It's really a delight to listen to, and it has something for every movie fan out there to enjoy. So if you're looking to grow your podcast library, if you eat meals, and if you've ever seen a movie, then you should give Ben, Keith, and Brad a listen and subscribe to the Movies and a Meal podcast. They've been a great sponsor to this show. I love the Movies and a Meal podcast, and I'd like all of you to love them too. Now today, we are talking about the sub-team that's not really a sub-team. That's right, the Iron Grenadiers, Destro's branded Revolutionary Guards, are the topic that listener Jim Miel wanted to dive into today. And so in we dove. These black leather-clad baddies, they spanned years of production. They had their own logo and branding, but really they were not technically a sub-team like you'd consider something like Tiger Force or Python Patrol. They were Destro's army, but as you'll learn today, they didn't all start out that way. And there's even one figure that is grandfathered into the group by my guest Jim, and you'll have to listen to find out who. Now, I feel like I learned as much about them during our deep dive as anything else. The Grenadiers were a faction I really only knew through the comics. I never collected any of the figures, so you're going to hear my surprise at who exactly was included as part of this group. There is a big mea culpa here and a special shout out to your favorite Joe on Joe co-host. At least she better be your favorite. My lovely wife, Toy Latil. Recently, while she was on a special mission, Brazil, for Cobra, Toy Latil, she took a fall and she broke her ankle. Now, she's going to be okay with some surgery and recovery, but this happened in just the days prior to me recording this. So I feel I didn't do the right homework on the Iron Grenadiers that you, the Joe on Joe listener, deserve. In fact, it was only after recording that we realized in all the randomness of the faction I overlooked, including Voltar. We never talked about Voltar, Destro's general and lover of condors. So please forgive that oversight and any of other oversights if I sound a little lost on this one. I apologize. I did not do my homework. And most importantly, please send healing vibes to Rebecca, a.k.a. the Cobra Cleaning Woman, Toy Latil, as she recovers. Maybe we'll do a bedside episode of the show. Now, enjoy the conversation as Jim Miel and I rediscover the love for Destro's Iron Grenadiers. And so, James, what is it about the Iron Grenadiers that brought you here today to You on Joe, man?
Well, as when we were first talking a little bit ago, 84 to 90, 91 was my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
So when Iron Grenadiers came out in 1988, that was right at the peak time. Right
Yeah.
where I had a paper route, so I had money,
Mm-hmm.
and they were a new subline with all the unique designs. The black, the red, the gold just attracted me to it. And they all looked like they belonged together, like they were a cohesive unit, you know. And with it being a newer subline and it be a little bit smaller, I
Mm-hmm.
was getting out on the ground floor, so I felt like, hey, I can collect from ground up and get all these, and it was a goal, I guess. One of the first habits of collecting is having to get it all.
Yes, so true. That is so true. And you're talking about sublines. This is the era of 88 was the same year as, Tiger Force and Night
Yep.
Force and all this stuff. And those were all repaints, and
Yeah.
we can, people, they have their fans, and I enjoy them too. But you're talking about a subline that is an entirely fresh subline. New
Yes.
sculpts, new bodies, new molds, new characters to enjoy. So the appeal there is off the hook.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the only subline previous to that was Battle Force 2000, which we all know was not accepted very well.
as previously discussed on
Yes.
Joe with Matt Plossman. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what was unique was the Iron Grenadier box art
Mm-hmm.
had Battle Force 2000 on it, if you remember. Almost like they were supposed to be the enemies of Battle Force 2000.
Okay.
If you look at the figures and the vehicle box art, so I have nothing to back this up, but I wonder, because Battle Force 2000 didn't sell very well, I wonder if that was a marketing ploy for people to buy up Battle Force 2000.
Interesting.
Hey, Iron Grenadiers coming
or
out.
maybe they originally designed them to be some kind of counter, because that's one of the
Yes.
things we talked about is Battle Force never really had an enemy.
No,
Interesting. That's good speculation. So let's go
because
over.
it worked for me. I bought a couple Battle Force 2000 vehicles after I got into the Iron Grenadiers.
Mhm.
So as a marketing ploy, it worked.
Well, the other really cool thing about it is in continuity, in whichever continuity you're talking about, whether it's the animated or the comic book, it was an organic extension of the character growth of Destro.
Yes, that's very true. And that's what after I got into comics, because I didn't get into the comics till 88,
Mhm.
89 actually. So when I got into the comics, I went back and read all those issues and learned that you're right. It was an organic movement of his character.
Yeah. Whereas he looked at what Cobra was up to and was like, "Hey, man, I can do this. I might as well
Yep.
have my own army.
Not only can I do this, I can do it better."
I can do it absolutely better." You're 100% right there. Yeah, for sure. And they had some really cool non-repaint vehicles too.
Yes.
Now, I say cool. They were a little crazy.
There's no argument there. But that was one of the attractions for me.
Right.
It was different, unique. And like I said, that gold, that black, and that red, just something about it.
The color scheme is really good looking too. Yeah. I definitely agree. And that's really, with a lot of these sublines, a lot of it is driven by that color scheme,
Yeah.
Whereas like Night Force, these like muted gray colors, they look individually cool. They don't necessarily look like a team, right?
Yeah.
Tiger Force 100% looks like a team, but they also look like furry cosplayers. They're all waiting for opening nights of Cats. You know what I mean?
Tiger Force would look better if all the camo or the pattern
Mm-hmm.
on the figures were the same.
Right.
They didn't use the same colors,
Yeah.
same pattern.
So you got Mr. Mephistopheles,
Yeah.
singing,
Yeah.
singing in a mildly disturbing CGI Cats rendition. And so when you get to Iron Grenadiers, it's dope black leather, a deep hued red, and then those gold trims,
Yeah.
which is cool. And it was a perfect upgrade to Destro, who we obviously previously introduced with having the silver. And you know what's ingrained in all of us: silver is second place, gold is number one.
Gold. Yes.
Do you remember which figure you got first? Like, did you get Destro first? Then you were like, "I'm in." Did you get them all at once?
I
Like,
got.
how was your entry into the Iron Grenadiers?
I remember it was Christmas, and I got both the Demon tank and Destro for Christmas, and that was the start. That was the first Iron Grenadiers that I got, and after that, it was pretty easy getting the smaller stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, besides well, let's take a look at Destro. Really, you still got the Destro face, but now it's cast in gold.
Yep.
You've got what I really dig about it is it's a half cape.
Yes.
You know, he wears it, or he wears it to the side, very much like Shazam, like Captain Marvel wears it, which I always thought was a cool choice. And
Yep.
he doesn't forget the ascot.
No. It covers his bare chest.
Exactly. He finally he's like, I'm sick of getting colds. Yeah. So they keep the ascot on the action figure, and they give him this really cool side sweeping cape. The 3 shoulder blade things that stick up are pretty cool.
Yep.
And then you get to his thighs, and he's got the little like metal struts, or like studs that are keeping his leather pants in place.
Yeah. And then you get that sword.
Yeah. And when you look at the pants they're awesome. They're designed to look like he's wearing leather stirrups, like he's not wearing like form-fitting boots and pants. The boots, they're like riding pants, just because. for no other reason than to look awesome. And yes, a sword. He doesn't even need a gun. He just needs he just needs a sword to lead his army.
He's riding that despoiler like riding a horse into battle.
Mm-hmm. Then the actual Iron Grenadier itself. The other cool thing in the comic they did, one of his Iron Grenadiers was like promoted. I forget what his name was. It was something like Seamus or something.
No.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, and he was like a face Iron Grenadier, which was really cool. You really never saw that. You saw that occasionally with the Cobras. If you remember Scar early
Major.
Sergeant, yeah. The early days of Cobra, they had that one guy who was a trooper they called him Scar because he had the scar across his nose. Same kind of thing. So then you could root behind it. Anytime you gave them a personality, it was something that a fan could latch onto.
Yeah.
So when you get to the Iron Grenadier figure, similar concept of cool with Destro, black, red, gold. Instead of the shoulder blades, he still has the shoulder, I guess, what are those called? Like stanchions, or what are those called? Like shoulder pads?
Yeah, what you call that.
Yeah.
The shoulder pad of some kind.
Yeah. But it's there, and what I like is that, like with Destro obviously being Big Chief Muckety Muck, his are gaudy and they're showy, right? So on the soldier, it's muted and low, but it's still there to signify unity. His rivets, that's actually the word I was looking for earlier. Like his leather rivets, his go across his chest versus on Destro's thighs. And he gets a sword as well as a submachine gun and a fancy laser pistol too.
Yeah, that laser pistol it doesn't seem in place with everything else, but
I'm so glad you said that, Jim. I'm so glad you said that, because I was thinking the same thing.
It almost looks like it should go to the nullifier or ferret.
Yeah. All red guns look weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this era of G.I. Joe.
Yes.
When they were more muted colors.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like the submachine gun's great. That looks really good.
Yep.
Sword obviously looks fun, but the all red gun, I don't. Even the design I think would be fine if it were just, a different color. I feel like even gold might have been better.
That would have fit better.
Mm-hmm. And he actually looks like with their face. So their face, it's emulating the Cobra Trooper, right? With the
Yep.
nose bridge face covering.
Yep.
But you don't actually see the trooper underneath it. They're more
you
fake. Can't see anything, right?
Can't see anything.
Yeah. Now, how many of these did you have?
Back in the day, I only had one.
Okay.
Back then, you didn't. As a kid, did you know about army building?
No, I did not.
You had a figure and you were good.
I had one. It's all I needed because my resources were limited. If you're going to be able to buy another one, you might as well get a different dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. Okay, good. We're on the same page there.
Yeah. But now I've got 2 or 3, I think. At least 2. Yeah, I think I have 2 of each, except for the nullifier. I don't have any of those.
Well, the next on the hit list is the driver of the demon, which is the Ferret. So Ferret is his name.
Yep.
Which that falls in those categories of I don't like that name for a individual troop person.
It's I don't know if it's the first time, but it's got to be one of the early on first times that they used the name for a character that was previously a vehicle.
Right.
That's why I don't like it.
Yes. And you had him?
Yes, I did.
Now he breaks the mold a little bit. He's got tan pants.
Yep.
It's like he didn't get the memo.
Well, he didn't get the memo, and then it passed on down to the nullifiers, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But that's kind of where that blends in with some of the other characters. But yes, it's where Ferret breaks the mold a little bit from what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Now he's got like a Cobra-like hood over a red kind of. Now, Jim, you were saying before we got on that you're a machinist. He's kind of got a welder's mask on.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he really does.
A little bit.
He's not looking like a welder.
No, he could strike an arc and not have to worry about it.
And he was the driver of the demon.
Yep.
So now we'll take a look at some of the demon stuff. So the demon is the dual elevating multi-ordnance neutralizer. This is the crazy vehicle for me.
This is crazy, but like I was saying before, it's attracted to me.
Well, tell me about that. What is it about the demon that gets you?
It doesn't look big, but you get it out, and it's long or wide, I guess. Not really long, it's wide. And then you can elevate it. It's a little bit skinnier.
Mm-hmm.
But the amazing part is you put Destro's despoiler right on top. And as a kid, that just amazed me. Like, that's how they integrated that in the two vehicles together was great. And just the again, the color, the angles of the canopy, just it really attracted me to it. And I only had one back in the day. I've got 1.5 right now. I'm working on finishing the second, but having a whole army of those would be great.
I mean, they're imposing when you look at them.
Oh, they are.
They're just weird. And what I like about it is that you can raise the treads.
Yes.
That's what's cool about it. So they can, like the treads which are, like flatten out, they can come in tight and you can get up high with them.
Yep.
That's pretty neat.
And you can, I mean, if you were an enemy and you saw a whole line of those.
Yeah.
And they coming at you and then they raise up. What are you going to do?
Yeah. There's 1, 2, there's 6, 8, 10. I'm not sure if there was ones in the middle. There's at least 10 missiles. I think the ones that look like, I think those are supposed to be cannons.
Well,
at least 10 missiles on them, right?
No, there's 6 missiles. The missiles are, I think what you're looking at is they slide in.
Oh yeah, but
is,
but on the very top of it are those 2 missiles that launch from that little condor looking thing when it sits on top?
No, those are guns.
Oh,
That's
those are guns. Okay.
And then if you look, I'm looking at Belomo's book, and he's got a picture of it where with the Destro's despoiler sitting on top of that gun.
Oh yeah, that's actually. I'm sorry. You know what? That is actually the picture I'm looking at. Yeah. You're right.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's the despoiler. Okay. Yeah. I was looking at the combined picture. I was like, is that a part of it? Okay, so that's those 2 missiles are come from Destro's despoiler. So that's
yes.
So those they're meant to dock like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's the kind of like vehicle combo stuff that Battle Force was going for that sucked.
Yep. Yeah.
To be blunt. Yeah. And then Go ahead.
I like Battle Force 2000 vehicles separately.
Yeah.
But not the concept of them joining together. It was just
totally. That was
horrendous.
our biggest takeaway. That was our biggest takeaway from that episode. Is that individually the ships were pretty cool. Is the combo part was really the part that failed everybody. It sticks in your craw. But yeah, that is the despoiler sitting on top of that. That's really cool. That's great. Now the 2 pieces on the side, the 2 red, are those lasers?
You're looking at the I think that's supposed to be a spotlight.
Got it.
Of some kind.
Yeah, the 2 the 2 ones on the driver's right. Oh, I think they're like I think they're supposed to be like radar. Like radar sensors, like to better target all that weaponry. Yeah, because that box art looks cool and it kind of shows off everything.
Yeah.
By the way, we've gone so far, we haven't talked about the really great logo that they have, where it's got Destro and the knife going through it.
Yes, that logo is. I actually designed the Cobra logo and the Destro logo together.
Mm-hmm.
Integrated them together. And I have that on the hood of my Jeep.
Oh,
yeah,
that's great. Like really big, so no one can miss it, or just like a small personal thing.
Nope, it's across the hood of my Jeep.
That's fabulous. Well, we should tell everyone you said you're calling from just outside of Muskegon, Michigan.
Yep.
So if you're in the Muskegon area, look for the Destro / Cobra Jeep.
Yep.
And that's our friend Jim. That's really fun.
And I do some 3D printing also, and I've made some keychains with that.
Oh shoot, that's
cool.
The
Cobra and the Destro together, yeah.
I really like that you've got that on the Jeep. Yeah, so that's cool. The demon's really neat. It is crazy. It's like every odd angle you could think of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's throw it into one toy, and somehow it really, really works.
Somehow it fits.
Yeah, it really does. But so Ferret, not great, but the demon, pretty great.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about the Destro's despoiler. So that's what Destro flies.
Yes.
And it is, think of it like the bottom half of Serpentor's chariot. Would you just describe it that way? It's kind of like if Serpentor's chariot, if you were able to sit down in it and fly around, sitting upright.
That's what I was going to say. If you could sit down on his, it's like Serpentor's chariot, just being able to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Except for a lot better color, if you ask me.
Oh, total better color, absolutely better color. Still no front face protection though. There's like a
no.
I love that they kind of throw a small little bump of a windshield in there as if that's stopping anything.
Well, it might help a little bit, but he's got a gold face and gold head. So,
that is true. He probably doesn't need it. He really probably doesn't need it. And was this the only way to get that? Did they sell Destro carded? Or was this the only way to get that Destro?
You had to buy the despoilers to get Destro.
Interesting. And did they ever do a carded Destro?
Not gold head until
Really?
the 25th anniversary.
Interesting, because I
Yep,
have
not
one.
till-
I have one in my collection, but it was later on. I picked it up and I never.
Yeah.
So he absolutely came with the despoiler.
Yep.
That's neat. That's definitely something I didn't. I never really put together. That's cool. He got a toy commercial out of it. That's pretty neat, and a great cover of
Yes.
the comic book issue number 87
Yep.
by Marshall Rogers. That's great.
Yeah.
It does look very toyetic though. But Marshall, when he drew G.I. Joe, his stuff really looked like toys come to life. I think he really did the because he's an amazing draftsman. I think he really used the toys for models. You know what I mean? That was my takeaway from the issues that he drew, is he seemed to have the models on point, and so they ended up looking a little more toyish than they did characterish, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. So do you still now? So you had him as a kid. Do you still have the same Destro and Despoiler that you did when you were a kid, or
No.
did you replace that?
No, I had to replace it because, like most of us, where there was a point in our lives where we said, we're not going to use these again or play with these, and we sold them.
Oh, you did. The cell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the cell.
So yeah.
Yeah. I been there.
Yeah.
Been there. And
I sold mine. I sold mine when we were raising money to adopt our second oldest daughter. So
wow,
it went to a good cause, but
that's
still,
the best cause. Absolutely. Congratulations. I hope you named her Lady J.
No.
Or Baroness.
No.
Oh,
she acts like. Yeah, I won't say it.
Zorana.
Actually, listen to this.
she's. I feel like Michigan is a state where the Dreadnoks would run rampant. I feel like Michigan has got a lot of it. And I'm from Chicago. I spent some time in Michigan. I feel like Michigan's got like that New Jersey / Florida vibe to it, like rebels. We like to be off the grid a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Dreadnoks would be at home in Michigan. But that's really cool, and what a great that's a great cause that you raised the money for. It was like mine, like I sold my He-Man stuff like to pay rent, stuff like that. Go, okay.
Yeah.
It's still needed, but it's like yeah.
But no, I do have the Destro and the Despoiler now.
Oh, great. Is it in pretty good shape?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Awesome. And the other vehicle is the AGP. So we touched on that a little bit. The anti-gravity pod.
Yep.
Similar to the Despoiler. It's like a small single-man flight vehicle with 4 rockets.
Yep.
And this guy came with the, as you mentioned, the nullifier.
Yep.
And yeah.
The one figure that doesn't go with anything else in the first year.
Not at all.
Iron Grenadiers was released.
Not at all. He doesn't look anything like he should be in an Iron Grenadier.
No. And it's I read this or heard this multiple places, but that figure was originally supposed to be released with Cobra La. That's why he looks the way he looks.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yep. He's a leftover from Cobra La.
That does make a lot of sense because he's got that Cobra La vibe to it.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if in order to, I guess, it's like smooth the transition, maybe that's why they gave the other pilot the tan pants, maybe?
I think so. Because, he doesn't, that's the only 2 characters that have any tan.
Yeah.
And then the ferret has the black and the red and the gold to kind of, like you said, transition.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense if, to try to find some unity there.
Yeah.
I wonder why they, I guess, you could really just do it different if you molded him in black. But maybe, so did they already have him manufactured already?
I don't know. Because I was watching, over the years, I've watched a couple different YouTube reviewers, and it
Mm-hmm.
even says, I think in the Bellomo's book, in the very beginning, it's got a picture of the nullifier, and it's got a write up
Mm-hmm.
on that. So I don't know the exact history. I just know that that's other people better than me have done the research, and that has been
Yeah. Oh,
proven.
that's great. Well, thanks for passing that along. That was something that was not on my radar.
Now, what's funny is you mentioned if they would have molded them in black.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Star Viper from the same year, 1988.
Okay.
Take a look at that.
Well, yeah, he looks like he belongs in the Iron Grenadiers.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he's not.
No, when I was a kid, he would be the pilot for my AGP. The
Yeah.
Star Viper would be.
Yeah, he totally looks like he should be a Grenadier.
So
Would you like just make him an honorary member?
yeah, pretty much.
That's really cool. So then the next year, in 1989, speaking of being on the radar, we get Targat.
Oh,
Is that an
yep.
you like him or you don't like him?
He's in my top 10
He's cool.
favorite character figures. He is cool.
Tell me why. What do you like about him?
Again, the black, blue is a new color for Iron Grenadier,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got that backpack. I used it as a jetpack, but and then just the guns and just the whole concept of him was pretty cool.
So he's got a blue, kind of an aqua blue helmet, but as we know, I love head accoutrement. So he's got a gold face plate on the helmet, but then there's a blue face shield, like Luke wore in Star Wars, that comes down over it, like a blast shield. And then he's got a one-man jetpack. Do those wings move at all, or are those stationary?
They do.
They do.
They ratchet in and out.
Oh, see, that's a winner right there.
Oh, yeah. And, back in the day when you were a kid, you were looking for the figure with all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How much stuff does this guy come with?
Mm-hmm.
That guy came with a big backpack, and it was pretty cool.
Absolutely. And the granddaddy of all accessories, any toy that comes with a plastic hose, I'm in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really in on that. I don't know what it is about connecting a gun to a backpack or connecting a flamethrower to a backpack or connecting something to another part of the action figure, but that's really appealing to me.
Oh, yeah.
I really like that.
It shows that they were...
I'm assuming you have a Targat today?
I have 3 of those.
And do you have the hoses?
I have 1 hose.
Okay, good. That's good. At least you got one. I like that.
Thank you, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I think one's missing a visor, but even without the visor, the figure looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like he looks good without. Sometimes when you get the Road Pig's one of those guys that when he's all dolled up, he looks great. But once you take off his everything, he kind of looks weird.
Yeah.
You know? And
he doesn't look complete.
No, he doesn't. So I like it when a kind of a character can kind of stand on their own. And that would be one of the definitely fall into that category. So then there's also an Annihilator.
Yep.
Which was Destro's Elite Trooper. Now they're definitely off the grid with color scheme on the Annihilator.
Yeah.
He's purple and orange. With gold piping, though. It feels like the gold piping is the signifier, like the unifier of the whole group, right?
If you look real close, he's got a Destro emblem on his belt buckle.
Oh, he does. Let's look close. Oh, he totally does. You're right. That's good. It's a good design. Well, I like the design overall. The colors are weird, but I do like
colors
the design.
are weird.
Yeah, I do like the design overall. The shape of the helmet's pretty neat.
My question, and I thought this when I was a kid, like, whose size head fits in that helmet, though? It's pretty small.
It's small, and it's also, it's like there's a snout on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, it's almost like it's made for an alien. Like, because why you
Yeah.
don't need that much snout space for any human.
No.
That's fun though. That's a fun look. It looks definitely looks freaky, and he came with a backpack like helicopter.
Yeah. He was another one of those. When I saw him on the peg, I'm like, even though he's already an Iron Grenadier, I'm like, I need that guy because of the stuff he comes with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a good looking card. He's flying. He's flying with the backpack. Now, how many of this guy do you have today?
Currently, I think I've only got 2.
Just 2.
Yep, just 2. They're piloting the Dominator right now.
Should say, listeners behind him, we've got a great he's got a great wall with all of his Joe stuff, and you can see it, and they look pretty great. Rounding out 89, of course, Destro's what is he? He's Destro's cousin, I would say.
Cousin.
Yeah.
Yep.
We get Darklon, which he got a short shrift in the comic book for sure.
What was he in? He had the introduction in 88, issue 88, and then one other time, and then
he got blown up by missiles.
He got it blown up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was sitting at home going like, man, there's some trouble over at Destro. Oh, I got blown up by missiles. Yeah.
And that was like 50 issues later. I mean, he was there, and then 50 issues later, they just killed him.
He was brought back to die, and that's for sure. He's also, I mean, he does win the award for craziest mask. Like as much as we're talking about the snout mask, Darklon's mask is crazy in a way that it feels built to have hoses attached to it, but then no hoses are attached to it.
Yeah.
So why the crazy flare on the bottom?
I don't know. And if you look at, if you have the character figure, his underneath the mask, his whole head's bald.
Oh,
There's no hair, no nothing. It's just bald.
Really?
Yeah.
Is his mask removable? I've never had him. Is his mask
No,
removable?
it's not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, because it's like, it's weird. The texture they give it, it's like a snakeskin texture, but it's just a shirt, right? Like
His shirt,
they're not
it's
implying.
a shirt.
I do like the leg belt full of hand grenades. It's really cool.
One leg's going to be stronger than the other, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but when they go off, only one leg will be blown up.
Yeah, maybe switches every other day.
And his gun is crazy. It's like a rote spinning barrel machine gun.
And I think if I remember reading somewhere, well, maybe it was in a comic book. In one of the comic books, he shot some of the dreadnoughts, and it was only tranquilizer darts.
Got it.
So I don't know if that was all the time or if that was just that incident.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well,
it was more of a motorcycle.
What was that? Oh, it's not a. Oh, you're right. It is a motorcycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It looked flighty to me.
Yep,
oh,
that's canopy
right.
to get in and out.
Oh, so it's like a Tron light cycle. That's what it's really like. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. It's got 2 wide wheels, and then the canopy opens up for him to get in and out.
And did it never had this? Did it stand on its own? Were the wheels wide enough to kind of give it balance?
Yeah. Yep. There's really no issue with that.
That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. The blueprints incorrectly spell it as Evador, Evador. That's fun. That also got a commercial. ER. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That also had a commercial. And he was packaged exclusively with the Evader.
Yep.
So
the only way you could get him.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. And then there was also that year they did the Destro got a Razorback.
Yes.
Another oddly angled thing, but that's great because at this point we are sticking with a theme, right?
Yep.
Treads in weird angles.
Yes, and this one also, the Razorback will pop up also. It will actually, you push it together, and that plastic bubble will raise up.
Oh, yeah.
So it's elevated also.
Yeah, I can see that.
So very similar to the Demon. Same concept.
That's pretty neat. Now, they went, and well, maybe they were trying to, because it's also got a lot of the tannish plastic to it, which kind of then matches that suit of the ex-Cobra La guy.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder
He's
if
got-
they were making a conscious choice there to try to tie that in, or if they just wanted to go with a different color.
He's got the gold missiles and the black
Mhm.
guns, so that kind of
Yeah,
matches.
that's a good looking toy.
You know.
Do you have a few of these now?
I've got one.
Okay.
One
Is your
one raised.
antenna intact? Because I can tell you right now, that antenna is going to break.
Yes, it is.
You have an intact antenna?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's really cool.
It's leaning, but it's intact.
That's okay. That's okay. That's good. And he came with wild boar.
Yeah.
He does not look like. He
He's
does not
kinda
look like. I mean, he's got gold on him, but he's gold, black, and red. But I don't know. He does not look like he fits in.
No. He does have.
He has a hose.
He's got a hose. You're in. Yeah. you like that hose?
And it attaches his helmet to his arm.
Yes.
Interesting, like a heads-up display kind of a thing.
Yep. He does have a Destro logo on his right upper shoulder, not shoulder.
It looks like his right wrist,
chest.
Maybe? Oh, right
No,
chest.
upper
Okay.
chest.
Oh, cool.
Collarbone area.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. But yeah, really, he doesn't. Him and Darkline don't match. This year they didn't stick with the colors as tightly as they did 88.
Is that it? Have we covered all of them?
For this year, yes.
Well, who do we got next year? Who am I missing?
1990, there was. 1990, there were 2 figures and a vehicle.
Who am I missing?
1990 was Metalhead.
Is Metalhead part of the? Is
Yep.
Metalhead considered part of the? Oh, see,
Yep.
that's something.
And Undertow.
I don't think I ever realized Metalhead was part of the Iron Grenadiers. It makes sense. His color scheme makes sense now.
Yep.
That's interesting. I never realized he came. Yeah, I'm looking at the card. You're 100% right.
Well, some of that is because by the time he was introduced in the comics, even and the DIC cartoons, he was pretty much working for Cobra.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
So,
yeah, I don't remember.
That's why.
He was a major guy on the DICs, and I don't recall that at all.
Yeah.
Ever any mention of him being an Iron Grenadier on that.
And then, like I said, but when he was introduced in the comics, he was working for Cobra as a spy for Destro.
Oh, right.
He was introduced at the very last Trucial Abysmia.
Yeah, you are correct on that. Yes, he was working as a spy for Destro. You know what? I remember that. I don't remember associating him with in my head. I just never associated him with the Grenadiers. Interesting.
Yeah. So
and
yeah, his.
Now, do you have how's your Metalhead? Because Metalhead, I like to give a lot of grief because of bang bang bang.
Yeah.
That is that got old real fast.
real fast. He was not portrayed very bright or very smart on the cartoon either.
No, he was a dummy.
Yeah. I have one complete figure and then one with the pegs are broken on the legs, which is not uncommon. As a figure, I like him. But as a character in like I said, cartoon, not a fan.
Yeah. So then we had Destro's Dominator.
Yep. Well, we have one more character.
Oh,
one more figure.
Who are we overlooking in the figures?
Undertow.
Is Undertow considered a
Yep.
He is.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, it makes sense because the Iron Grenadiers need they need a water guy.
They need a water guy.
Destro's Frogman. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
See, this is why we have you on, because you're the one who has the passion for this. I love it.
I have the passion.
I love learning. Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I have the passion for it.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, and he came with the little barracuda fish. Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah, Destro's Frogman. Yeah, Undertow was Destro's Frogman.
Yep. And by this time, I was getting out of it, so I mean, I don't have much to say when I was younger, but now I think they're really good figures.
Yeah, they're cool. I do agree. They're really cool.
Yeah.
I question the weird mask though covers one of their eyes. I wonder if the idea is that underneath it there's like a heads up display or something. Hopefully,
I'm guessing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He 100% has one of those names where it if you're gonna call him Undertow, it should say Destro's Frog Man. You know,
Not Frogmen. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
like that's the name for one dude,
Yes.
not
Yep.
a whole fleet of dudes. But they call them
That's very
men, and then they
similar.
sell more.
Yeah. Very similar to Wild Boar. Is he a individual or is he a troop?
Right? Yeah, totally. Yes, you're 100%
You know?
right there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, he's good looking though.
So-
I do like him.
Oh, he is. His
Yeah.
colors are good.
Really good colors. Kind of like a deep gray, a deep red, and a I won't say it's not teal. It's like a forest green.
Yeah.
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 And
They go well together.
they do, and the like his body mold has a lot of like the aquatic accoutrements. He's got the
Yep.
hose, which we know is a
There
winner.
you go.
His face mask snaps over his face without the mask. He's got a little beachhead vibe, which is great.
Yep.
And then he's got the motorized undersea sled, and he's got every good water dudes and snow dudes are the best. Period.
I am a big snow guy.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
I agree. And in both cases, part of the appeal is the footwear, because
Yeah.
either you get skis or you get the big paddle feet.
Yep.
In the snow dudes, and then in the water dudes, you always get a flipper of some sort, and it does not disappoint here. And he's got a cool spear, and he's got a pet fish.
Yeah.
You've won me over with the pet. Do you have the pet, the barracuda, with yours?
No. Those are like most things not very easy to come by.
Yeah.
They're like the hoses.
Mm. That's cool. They
I
really-
have
yeah.
I have one of them one undertow complete, and I think that's it.
You know it's a good figure because they did there's 5 versions of them. So you know people
yeah.
really like it. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you know in any of the later versions did they kind of go for more of a Undertow as a single dude, or is it always an army builder?
I'm not real strong in the mid 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
Even up to the 50th anniversary. But I would guess that he was just an army builder or
builder,
a trooper.
Well, then we move to the next, which is a vehicle, to kind of cap it off with Destro's Dominator.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's a
Yeah.
good looking. That is a heavily armed land vehicle that can also fly like a helicopter.
Yep. Yeah.
2-seater, again, weird angles, which I really like that they stuck with that
Yeah.
theme
Yep.
for all of these. They all have really, really weird angles. Because that makes it feel like it's a proprietary design by Destro. Like that's his
Yes.
design sense. For these, this is how they're going to look.
And it's got the gold, the black, and the red.
Yep. It's got his
This
logo.
this vehicle looks like it fits.
Mm-hmm. His logo in all the right places.
Yep.
The helicopter blades can be swept back for when you're fighting on land, and then they can pop open for you to fly away. It continues that tradition of having these wide stanced treads.
Yes.
Which is also a signature of this line of how they look similar.
Yep.
And then those fold up when you become a helicopter. So this
Yep.
really is a transformer.
It is essentially.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a cool figure. And the box art is really gorgeous too, actually. And there's Metalhead in it. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So what else are we missing? Who else are we missing?
Well,
Have we
have
we covered all the classics?
Yeah, except for one.
Uh-oh.
Now this is where I might be stretching a little bit, but I consider Scrap Iron an Iron Grenadier.
Really? Going all the way back to Scrap Iron?
Well, he was. If you look at Scrap Iron's description in '84, he worked for. He was Destro's first man.
You're right.
Now, is he an Iron Grenadier? No, he doesn't say that. But I I look at when I pose mine, he's an Iron Grenadier.
You know what? I mean, you're not wrong. His color scheme fits.
Uh-huh.
It's more blue than black, but you're not
Yep.
wrong. He was
Yep.
the product designer for Destro's company.
Yeah. Yep.
Did the initial field testing on all the new armor piercing munitions.
Yep.
And they did. Let's see here. Scrap Iron he only had one version of them in the OG line. And they've since done multiples of them, but in the OG he only had one version. If they did another one, I absolutely can see them making him an official Iron Grenadier. I think you're onto something here, Jim.
Metalhead should have been Scrap Iron.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they serve the same purpose,
So,
carrying missiles. You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Except I don't want to sully Scrap Iron with screaming bang all the time.
Well, it's true. That's true. Scrap Iron's a little bit better than that. A lot better than that.
I like that a lot. I like that theory a lot. Okay, yeah, we're gonna adopt him into the Iron Grenadiers. And it's funny. I've always associated them just really with that first three, and having this conversation with you, it's really opened my eyes to just how deep this line went. It wasn't just this initial package, and how they were committed to it with with new designs. They weren't just repainting. That's really what's always been impressive to me about them.
Yeah, because most of the sublines, as you stated when we first started, was just repaints.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Force, Python Patrol, Sky Patrol.
Yep.
They were all repaints.
Yeah. These are really really cool. Now, for me, I do remember being turned off. It's weird. I remember being turned off by Destro, the new look Destro, when I was a kid. I like him a lot now, but when I was a kid, I was like, what's he up to? Maybe maybe I'm just a sucker for the shirtless medallion, but I do remember
classic, right?
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember seeing him go like, meh. And I'd like to talk to that kid and say, you were wrong, kid. Because and I've been appreciating him for quite a while now, but yeah, I remember back in the day, I was like, meh, I'm good.
Yeah. When I saw him, when I got him for Christmas, and really when I started collecting, it was difficult to get the original Destro.
Oh yeah.
So this was my chance to get a Destro. So
that makes sense. Now, we should say they've done Iron Grenadier iterations in all the, we talked about, and all the and all the stuff in 2008, and 11 and 10 and stuff. So this stuff continues. This isn't like every Iron Grenadier they've ever done.
No.
I'm looking just on his tank and I'm seeing a bunch of different, reissues and redesigns and, for all the various sublines. So Iron Grenadiers are well represented throughout.
And the ones they did in the modern era I had one from the 50th anniversary. I think the mold was previously used, but the one from the 50th anniversary, came with Steel Brigade. Came with a Steel Brigade figure.
Okay.
The 2-pack. And those two figures came with so much stuff. And the molds for the Iron Grenadier was crazy.
Well, it's when you say that.
Even that just fueled my fire, because I wasn't really into collecting the modern stuff until I saw those figures. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, especially if that's your jam. But that's what's cool about collecting is you find those little ins that get you. Like you love Zartan so much, and then they come out with a really cool looking Zartan. You're like, well, I got to get that. And then you get an appreciation for the new versions of them. And then you're like, all right, I'll get a few more. You mentioned the Steel Brigade. From our friends over at the G.I. Joe Wiki, apparently the working title for the whole franchise, the whole Iron Grenadier thing, they were thinking about calling them the Nameless Legion, the Hardcore, and the Stainless Steel Brigade, which is fantastic. I love that one.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do a Iron Grenadier classified stuff?
I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
I really do. They'd be crazy not to. Because the design would fit. They could put so much detail with the size of the figures, and
They'd be great
They would-
army builders. They would sell a
Oh, yeah.
ton of them.
Yeah. I could see them being a store exclusive,
Mm-hmm.
almost, similar to the Python Patrol and Tiger Force.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them doing something like that.
Now, I should say we're recording this the day before their the Hasbro March update. So if for some reason they announce they're doing Iron Grenadiers and this comes out in 2 weeks, I need you guys to know, we recorded this and we didn't know anything. So
Yeah, we didn't know anything.
yeah, we didn't know anything. But I agree. I think doing an Iron Grenadier version of all this stuff would be fabulous. I'm a sucker for the Super 7s too. And I'd love to see Super 7 versions of these.
I could see them doing a reaction.
Yeah, the reaction. Yeah, the little reaction guys.
Yep.
Although we just got some unrelated to all this stuff that they're doing a whole line of I think Tiger Force reactions. I feel like they're just repaints, and I'm like, I thought Super 7 was better than that.
Yeah.
Because I really like the Super 7 line, but
yeah, they're reusing those molds and taking people's money.
Yeah, like I know no one's forcing anyone to buy anything. I don't want to sound like that guy, but a whole wave of them that's just repaints. I'm like, I might skip out on that. Yeah, or if you do that, do them as a set, with like a little savings off the top, right? So instead of, you know what I mean, like maybe $10-12 a figure, but it's a set for $60, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. That I'd get behind. But anyway, that's a different subject. Jim, we're talking Iron Grenadiers. This has been awesome because I've learned a lot more about Iron Grenadiers than I've ever known before. So I appreciate you bringing this to my doorstep, Jim.
Yep.
And our listeners, if they want to reach out to you, said the best place would be on Facebook?
Yep, Facebook. At Jim Miel, JimMiel.
And you're an active member of a lot of the Joe communities, like Joe 8284, Uncensored, the Ara vintage stuff, Classified, things like that. And do you get to any? So you said you do like local cons. Do you go to any of the like national big shows just as a fan or as a vendor or anything?
I don't go to any of the big ones. I find it difficult when I'm at shows quite often already.
Yeah.
But here in West Michigan, we've got a strong toy-based community. A lot of people in the area, and it's fun getting into that community. I urge people, if you're not already in, reach out to somebody, find a Facebook group, find somebody in your area collects Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I sold an item on Facebook Marketplace to a guy, and he had no idea that people collected it in this area. I'm like, you have no idea.
Bringing people together.
Oh yeah, there's someone in your area collects, and if you're, the community is what is really nice with collecting.
And so find Jim on Facebook. Jim, it's a real pleasure, man. Thank you for being a guest on You on Joe today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And now listen,
it's been fun.
Now I know more about the Iron Grenadiers, and now Joeing is half my battle.